What is up and welcome to Maps on the Map and to the Big Apple, New York City, where no one does Christmas bigger or better. Having meticulously planned my bucket list trip, I wanted to save you the stress, so in today's video I'm going to be giving you the lowdown, sharing my top 10 tips to making your holiday adventure smooth, fun and festive. Now these must-dos are in no particular order, but let's kick things off with a big one. Coming in at number 10, we've got the timing of the Christmas lights. Christmas in New York City doesn't last forever, so timing is everything. I can't imagine anything worse than rocking up to the Rockefeller tree to find that there is no tree because you're either too early or too late. This year the Rockefeller tree lights up on the 4th of December and according to the official website comes down around mid-January. You want my advice? Go in December, that's the safe zone. I think you'd be risking it, but you might be okay in early January. December though, oh yeah, December is when Santa Claus is coming to town and the city is in full-on festive mode. Moving into January, things are going to start to normalise, and trust me, you don't come to New York City for normal. Speaking of the Rockefeller Christmas tree, it is Christmas, it is New York City, and it is hella busy on the weekends. So coming in at number 9, avoid the Rockefeller Christmas tree on the weekends because it is chaos. And I'm not talking like a few mandem taking pictures of the tree, I'm talking road closures, police patrolling the streets, and a sea of people. I made that mistake and I do not want you to do the same. Go during the week, it's so much calmer even in the evenings. Now, my favourite Christmas movie of all time is Home Alone, and I knew I had to visit the iconic Plaza Hotel. Seeing it from the outside was a childhood dream come true, and sadly I didn't get to see it from the inside. But you can live my dream. You can do it for me. The reason why I missed out on walking the Plaza hallways like Kevin McAllister is because again it was a weekend and mad busy. So at number 8, my top tip is going to be avoid the Plaza Hotel at the weekend. Now you might be thinking, yeah but Maps, how do I get inside the Plaza Hotel? How do I live your dream? Well, here's 3 ways you can do it at 3 different price points. Now if you fancy balling out, then the first option is to book a room, but it's going to cost you thousands of dollars per night. Absolute madness. If you've been really good this year and want to absolutely break the bank, get this. This is mad just talking about it. The Plaza Hotel do a Home Alone Lost in New Jersey experience with all the bells and whistles, including a 2-night stay, VIP tickets to a special screening of Home Alone, as well as a Q&A with the man himself, Macaulay Culkin. Not only that, but you get round-trip transport VIP style in a limo complete with an extra large cheese pizza and a cold cola, and in your room there's a 16 scoop ice cream sundae with all the trimmings. Bruh, 16 scoops? And this is all really well priced at what in the jingle bells is going on? A starting rate of $6,000. Hey, if anyone has done this experience, please tell me about it in the comments. I really want to know what it's like. The second, more reasonable way to get into the Plaza Hotel is to book the holiday afternoon tea, coming in at $155 per person. It's definitely pricey, but hey, it beats the $6,000 that I was talking about earlier. And you know what, I think it would be an unforgettable experience, and not only that, but a delicious experience, and one that might be worth it for you. The final Plaza hack is right up my alley, because it's free, and it just needs a bit of luck, good timing and perseverance. As I've heard, you can try your luck and say you're going for a drink at the bar, and apparently that gets you into the Plaza Hotel. Now I did try this, but because it was peak time on a weekend, access was denied. But I think you might have more success midweek where it's less busy. Let me know in the comments if you did manage to get into the Plaza Hotel for free, because I really want to know how you did it. When I first stepped foot in Manhattan, the adrenaline hit. My neck starting to ache from looking up at the towering skyscrapers and a pure sensory overload from the beautiful Christmas lights. But then it hit me. New York City is massive, and if you try and conquer the concrete jungle by foot, you'll tire yourself out and waste valuable time. My top tip is to use the subway to get about and avoid taxis because the traffic is a madness. The subway is affordable, fast, and now you can just tap and go with contactless payments, making it an even more convenient way to explore. On a side note, if you're not from the US, I'd highly recommend getting a US mobile data plan or making sure that you can use your own data abroad, as I use Google Maps so much to get about, including knowing which stop I needed to get off when I was on the subway. Coming in cold at number 6 is to wrap up for the winter. New York City gets cold in December. The sub-zero temperatures and wind chill factor are no joke. It's that crispy type of cold that slaps you in the face, and if you don't come prepared, it can really ruin your trip. Bring thermals, a solid coat, gloves, a hat, and comfy shoes. One of the big reasons is that a lot of the food places have limited seating, sometimes the only option being outdoor seating. Generally these are like the fast food places, like a cheeky slice of Joe's Pizza, which is delicious, but even better when you're wrapped up, tucking into a piping hot slice of pizza. Nothing beats it. By the way, my New York City food tour is in the works and it's got it all, so be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications because you do not want to miss out on some of the best eats in the city. Speaking of food, New York is a festive foodie's dream, but the holidays mean that every restaurant is jam-packed. So to save you the disappointment, if you do want a sit-down meal, tip number 5 is to book restaurants in advance or go early or late to avoid the rush. There were several times that I rocked up absolutely starving to be told I needed to wait an absurd amount of time for a table, or was simply turned away as the restaurant was no longer taking bookings. Of course, for more casual spots like your pizza slices to go or that morning breakfast bagel, the queues move quick and you don't need to book. But for places like Korean American restaurant Nawan, who serve burgers that absolutely bang, make sure you book ahead. Tip number 4 is for my New York City first timers, because I'm not gonna lie, I was stung by this one the first time I paid a visit to New York. Don't pay to see the Statue of Liberty, as you can see Lady Liberty for free using the Staten Island ferry, taking you from Whitehall Terminal to Staten Island, which runs every 30 minutes. The ferry will give you incredible uninterrupted views of the statue, but of course if you do want to go onto Liberty Island itself and see the statue close up, then I'd recommend purchasing a tour. Now I've put a link to the Get Your Guide tour I'd book in the description, so be sure to check that out. So I've used Get Your Guide so many times now, and they're a reputable and reliable company, so there won't be any nasty surprises. Now it can be tempted to go with the supposedly cheaper tours being sold near the ferry terminal, but honestly, these are just hustlers trying to make a quick buck. And I've learned this the hard way, so you don't have to. Right, we're now into my final 3 top tips to making the most out of a trip to New York during the holidays. And if you're planning on going to the theatre, this one's for you. The show must go on, as at number 3, we've got a little hack on getting cheap theatre tickets. So if you want to get cheap tickets to the theatre here in New York, then Times Square is the place to come, where there's a ticket office just below the stairs. Now basically tickets are more expensive in New York if you book in advance, whereas you get discounted tickets here in Times Square, and these offer shows either today or tomorrow, and it's both on Broadway and off Broadway, and they're reduced by about 40 to 50%. Be sure to come early though, because the queues are pretty big. The lines open at 11 o'clock each day. Coming in at number 2, my advice is don't stay near Times Square. Now you might be thinking, but ma'am, Times Square is one of the most iconic sites in the world. Just trust me on this one. Times Square is awesome, don't get me wrong, but it's also extremely crowded, noisy and super touristy, with everyone trying to make a quick buck, whether it be selling a mixtape, wanting to take a photograph with you, or selling you something you definitely do not need. Also, the restaurants near Times Square are often overpriced or fast food chains, so instead, for a more authentic New York experience, I'd recommend staying somewhere a bit quieter. I decided to stay at the Renwick in Midtown Manhattan, which had a great location not far from the Grand Central Terminal, meaning that we were really well connected to the whole city. The area also felt safe and the rooms were spacious, clean and with lovely staff. What more could you want? Now before we come on to my final tip, I wanted to throw in a little bonus round. Think of it as a little Mamps on the Map Christmas gift, since it's the holidays after all. New York at Christmas can be a bit overwhelming, and you might feel the pressure to go at 100 miles per hour to experience it all. But completing Christmas in New York is a marathon and not a sprint, and so my bonus tip is to just take some time to chill, take a breather and make sure you stop to be present and take it all in. Grab a hot chocolate, maybe try some ice skating, or get in some retail therapy. One store that I fully recommend is called Century 21. For my viewers in the UK, it's kind of like TK Maxx but with sizes that will fit and brands you will have heard of. And for those in the US, you guys are lucky as it is so cheap compared to the UK. I was able to get designer pajamas for like $15. What a bargain. That store is definitely not one to miss, and it's next to the World Trade Center, so if you've seen my New York City festive guide, that is where you can fit it in. And if you haven't seen my guide, be sure to check it out as we cover everything you should do in New York during the holidays. I'll put a link to the video in the description, and the video will also pop up at the end of this video, so be sure to check it out. Right, back to business, and coming in at number 1 is to make sure you choose the right viewpoint at the right time. New York has hands down, no questions asked, one of the, if not the best city views in the world. But the challenge is that there are so many different viewpoints to choose from, including Top of the Rock, One World Observatory, as well as my personal favourite, Summit One Vanderbilt. Now that is an experience and a half. I've put a booking link to Summit One Vanderbilt in the description if you do want to experience it for yourself. One thing I'd advise against is heading to the top of the Empire State Building for your views, for the simple reason that you just won't see it in the skyline, and it's so iconic, so you want it to be in your photos and videos, you want to see it with your own eyes, it needs to be there. Also, I'd highly recommend paying a bit extra and going around sunset to get both day and nighttime views. It is worth every penny. The views are insane, and that has been my top 10 tips for Christmas in New York City. If this video has helped you out, then be sure to subscribe for more content, as next time on Maps on the Map, we're going on a New York City food tour as I go on the hunt for the best eats in the city. If you've got any questions about visiting New York, then feel free to leave a comment or DM me on Instagram. And as always, it's been a pleasure. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. See you in the next one. Peace!